Alrighty, I'm going to show you guys how to use two independent cards, which is necessary if you don't run Voicemeeter Banana or Potato to communicate with your non in and out using a DAW. You cannot use two of the same cards, two identical cards, if the drivers are not, quote, aggregate drivers. Okay, they have to be separate drivers, otherwise Windows doesn't know what to do with it. So I use two independent cards, and I found this to be the easiest and most stable way to do this. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly how to put this together. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go over to the camera. Okay, here is my primary station card. That is the M-Audio 192.4. This card is used to communicate back and forth to the Anan and the Sun, the two SDRs. All right. Now you can't use the same card to communicate back and forth and to pass information to two or multiple pieces of software simultaneously. That's why you need to use Voicemeeter Banana or Voicemeeter Potato. However, being it unstable, can't do that. I'm so frustrated. I can't. I've been having problems last night and this morning with it. So I've gone back to using two cards, which is absolutely bomb-proof. So this is the primary station card. You'll need two independent cards. This is the card. This is the Mackie Onyx. Now this card is the card that communicates with Cakewalk. It handles all of the audio and processing in Cakewalk. So as you can see, the microphone cable, my microphone comes into this card. This is what I call card 1. All right, and then what you need to do, make sure, set up your phantom power. One thing you need to do is make sure that direct, see that button right there? It's hard to see because it's not well lit. It says direct monitoring. Make sure that is off. Whatever card you're using as card 1, in other words, your Cakewalk card, your DAW card, make sure that direct monitoring is off. You want that on DAW and USB. All right. You cannot monitor direct because what that does is it monitors the microphone, that plug right there. It will monitor that, and that doesn't work. You want to use only the audio and Cakewalk and feed that to the Sun or the Anan. This is a non-specific video, but it applies to other SDRs as well. All right. So out of the back, you want to come out of the back with a cable, a 1/4-inch TRS, and into line 1 of the M-Audio card. That's the patch, and I will include a link in the description pointing you exactly how to patch this whole thing together. All right, so you can... So what I did was I made up a cable. You can get the instructions online. You need a 1/4-inch TRS. Again, you'll see ferrite beads. I bead the crap out of everything to prevent RF. RF will damage these cards. Make sure you have no RFI. You don't want RF in the shack. All right. And then I come from a 1/4-inch TRS into a 3-pin XLR male. That will go into the back of your card. All right, and the wiring schematic for how to properly wire that is online. You can find it. Just type in 1/4-inch TRS to 3-pin XLR pinout or something like that, and it'll show you exactly how to wire it. I made that cable up myself. So this card will communicate with Cakewalk. This is what's bringing your audio into Cakewalk. All right, now you see that silver knob there? What I do is I use that output to drive. Keep in mind, this is communicating with Cakewalk all virtually, but you need to get the audio from this card into the primary station card. All right. So that silver knob, what you want to do is you want to set your output drive. That's the analog out. Remember that cable that comes out of the back into the back of the M-Audio card, channel 1. Make sure phantom power is off on the primary station card. Done. So So this card this is all happening through USB with Cakewalk. Audio's coming into the microphone, out of this card, into the computer. See that white cable, USB cable? That goes in the computer and is processed through Cakewalk, as you can see running right here on the right-hand side. All right. And then is spit out of this card, out of one of the line outs on the back, over to the quarter-inch, not the quarter-inch TRS to 3-pin XLR into this card. Hopefully you get that. You understand the signal flow, the path here. All right, and that drive level, you want to set that the output drive level on that card so that, and then what you're going to have to do is this comes into channel 1. This is your gain level, and this is what drives the radio. This card is the primary station card. This handles computer audio and all the audio coming in and out of the radio. All right. Set your drive level accordingly. Try not to clip it. As you can see, mine's trying to go into clip, which is not a big deal. There's a little headroom there, so I wouldn't worry about that. Now that will correspond, when you see that clip light, that's 0 dB. And that I set so that it will properly drive the Anan and the Sun to 0 dB. All right. Of course, you have your mic gain adjustments in the radio as well. So we're moving on to the other goodies. Of course, you've got your speaker out of that card, and here's your headphone out. All right. Now, to adjust to be able to hear your audio, your real-time audio processed in Cakewalk, you're going to plug this is your primary station card. All the audio comes in and out of this card that you are going to hear, okay? Like physically hear in what's being sent in and out of the radio. So you want to turn your headphones up, and the nice part about this card is you have a mix knob. So the USB side will be the radio. The direct is this, coming from Cakewalk. So if you want to hear your audio while you're working and setting up a profile, EQs and all that other stuff in Cakewalk for your TX audio, you're going to need to move this over to direct. Otherwise, you're not going to hear anything. Also, make sure your speakers are off for obvious reasons. It's going to loop and feedback. And use your headphones. All right. So that's that in a nutshell. Go back over here. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to set up, you may want to go in, like I go in here, right-click on your speaker icon, click Sounds. This will open your Sounds window. All right, go to Playback. What I do is I set my primary station card to default device. That's the M audio. I set the speakers, the secondary card, which is my Cakewalk card, I set that to default communication device. Do the exact same thing on the recording tab. Primary station card, that's the one that communicates with the radio. Down here, set that to default device. That's my M audio. Up here is the Onyx, the Mackie, that's communicating with Cakewalk. I have this set to default communication device. Of course, you can just right-click it and set it right there. While you're in here, go ahead and check your sample rates. Go to advanced, 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. On the Onyx, set it whatever you want them. You want the sample rates as close to the same as possible. Don't pay too much attention to the bit rates. If you jump down here to the M audio card, let's check that out. Go to advanced. Of course, that's right-click. This is set to 32-bit, 48 kilohertz. This is where this card likes to run. All right, so I just leave that alone. Set that on the playback and recording tabs in here. Make sure they all line up. Not a big deal. Seems to work fine if they don't, but I just try to make sure that's all set. All right, on to Cakewalk. So Cakewalk, what you need to do is you need to set your card. You need to tell it what card to use. So go to Edit, Preferences, and this is the same for any DAW. In your devices area, you want to make sure Mackie ASIO driver analog 1. Of course, you have to make sure you install the drivers for your sound cards. That's the very first thing you do. before you start monkeying with software. So set your drivers up. I know that's Captain Obvious, but I figured I'd say it. And your output, Mackie ASIO driver analog 1. Okay, these have to match. So you need to set Cakewalk to use that primary, not the primary station card, but Cakewalk's own individual card. Remember? This card over here. That's the card. That's the Cakewalk card. Card number 1. Card number 2 is the primary station card. That communicates with the radio. That does not communicate with Cakewalk. So going back to here, make sure that's set. Click apply. Okay. You can always go into driver settings. You can see where they're set at. Make sure your sample rate is set correctly, 48 kilohertz. I have my buffer size wound right down. Minimum latency. Okay. Now you have to set your input for your channel 1 strip. This is for your microphone. So you go to in and out down here. Hit the drop down. You want Mackie ASIO driver. You want analog 1 because you're using, that's 1 left. That's how Cakewalk sees it. So you want that to use, that's basically looking at input 1 on the Mackie card. That's what you want. That's done. Now you want to send it to master. So select master on the output. Okay. Now on your master, go to your master slider, your channel strip, and you want to tell it where to send the audio. So you want to send this analog 1, analog 2 out, which is 1 and 2 stereo, S. Make sure that's set there, and it will send the audio, it will take the audio in, process it through your plugins up here, and send it back out through the Mackie. All right, so that's done. Make sure this blue box is checked, input echo. If this is not checked, you won't see anything happen. It's not monitoring it in real time. This has to be on. Okay. Let's see. If you would like a setup, if you would like to get my CWP file, make sure you download and install all the plugins that you want. If you want to start with what I have here, which is probably the easiest route, you can do it however you want. Go to the website. I'll have linked in the description. And go to, I can't remember which page it's on, DAW setup maybe. I think that's it. I'll give you, there's a list of plugins there, all of the download locations, links, and instructions on how to install the plugins. There is a CWP file, which is the launch file for Cakewalk. If you download that and drag that to your desktop with all the plugins installed in Cakewalk, and you click on that, it should open Cakewalk and load everything exactly the way it's basically ready to go. It's all pre-configured. The only thing you may have to do is go in and fuss with the drivers, the devices, to set your devices up for your sound card. Remember, edit preferences in here. You may have to go in and set this. So other than that, it's probably going to be pre-configured. Now all my EQ curves are going to be different for you, your voice and your microphone, blah, blah, blah. It's another Captain Obvious. You're going to have to go in, probably fuss with everything, reset everything. Don't forget your gain. Everything is signal flow from start to finish. If you change the gain or you change one thing, it's going to change the gain on the next plugin, just like a rack would. Signal flow in a rack is just like plumbing through down the drain from one place to another to another. You'll have to set all your gains, work one at a time down through here, get everything set to the way you like it. You're off and running. Now that's running. We can go over to the Apache. Let's get over there. Okay. So first thing you want to do, go to Setup, and VAC1. You want to set driver to ASIO, input, whatever your primary station card is that you're using. Mine is the M Audio. Set that to the M Audio 192.4 in, 192.4 out. ASIO, click enable, bada boom, bada bing. Apply. Okay. You are good to go. So the first thing you want to check is to make sure you've got audio. All right, coming out of the Anan. And we do. So let's, as you can see, I've got quite the noise in the hash and trash going. And we can get up here to a signal. Make sure you've got audio and everything sounds okay.
And of course I can't open for the motor, but the thing was still running. That's why I just got in it and went for it and drove it up the hill. But I got to pull all that out somehow. I don't know. That support on the bumper on the left.
I think the wife's got the Keurig running upstairs. Okay, now that that's done, you've got audio.
I don't know. But
I'll turn the AGC down. Next thing you want to check is your monitor function. So you want to make sure that the audio going to the Anan is good, that you've got good clean audio, and everything's doing what it's supposed to do. So you want to kick the monitor function on. And again, what I'm going to show you right here is on the M Audio card, or your primary station card. This is the card communicating with the Anan. You want to, if you don't want to hear your audio process from Cakewalk, in other words, you don't want to monitor it, just turn this knob all the way down to USB. And all you will hear is the rig, the RX audio from the rig. If you want to monitor your audio, this is basically a mix control from the Cakewalk mix and the RX side of the Anan. But because I'm going to check it in the Anan itself, I'm going to spin this down to USB. So when I key the radio, all you're going to hear is the audio coming back from the Anan, through the Anan, from Cakewalk. Okay, so I'm going to turn this down. And we'll go check, check. 1, 2. Sorry about that. Very loud out. And check 1, 2. Check, check, check. Okay. Sorry about that. Probably just blew the living daylights out of everything. I looked over at OBS and she was a little hot. So that is working. So you are all set. That's pretty much it. That's all you need to do to get 2 cards, a DAW running on 2 independent cards, and with a very clean audio and everything else. So that's all I got for you there. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. I will tell you, this is the preferred method. This is what I prefer to use. It's so much cleaner. There is a slight hint of latency so using Voicemeeter Banana. Not really a deal breaker, but just the quirkiness of it, it's forced me back into using 2 independent cards. So I'll post a link to a couple cards as well that you can look at. Remember, you can't use the same card unless they're, quote, aggregate drivers. In other words, Windows needs to see 2 independent drivers, 2 different drivers to be able to actually use the cards. If you try and put 2M audio cards in there and use it, it's not going to work. Good luck with that is all I can say. All right, 7-3. We'll catch y'all later.